Good morning, children. How are you? I hope you people will be fine and healthy. Children, in the last turn, you have learned the circumstances which laid the foundation for the nationwide revolt in France. This time, we will go with the second unit, the outbreak of the revolution. Means how the revolution started, which factor became the immediate cause of the revolution. Children, as you know that due to poor economic condition, Louis XVI was forced to impose new taxes. But this he could not done on his own, as in old regime he had to call a meeting of the States General. It was a system during the old regime that the king himself could not impose any taxes or increase any taxes. For that purpose, always he had to call a meeting of the States General. State General, and the State General was authorized to pass a proposal for the new taxes. However, it was the only right of the king when to call the meeting, and the last meeting of this States General was called in year 1614. Means since 1614 no meeting of the States General was called by any king. This time the situation became worse, and it forced Louis XVI to call the meeting of the States General, as he was bound to increase taxes, to impose new taxes to meet the expenses of his court, regular expenses of his court. And children, here you can see this is an extravagant court at the Palace of Versailles, about which you have learnt in the previous slides. In economic condition, that lot of money was spent to maintain this court in Palace of Versailles. You can see this is one of the splendid court, and lot of expenses were made to maintain this luxury and this magnificent structure of this court. So this was also one of the big cause of the poor economic condition. Children, I have told you about the States General. States General actually was a legislative body in France during old regime. Old regime, the period before the 1789, representing the three states, that were the clergies, the nobilities and the common men. In this was a legislative body, and all three states were allowed to send their representatives. The clergies had 300 representatives, the nobilities also had the 300 representatives, but the third state, means the common man, has 600 representatives in this legislative body. So this was the States General, and this the meeting of the States General was called upon by the Louis XVI to impose new taxes. Children, here you can see the convocation of States General. Convocation, this is the meeting only. The States General meeting was called by Louis XVI on 5th May 1789. The first and the second states sent 300 representatives and were got seat in rows facing each other on two sides. Children, here you can see in this picture, these are the representatives sitting facing each other. These one belongs to the first state and second belongs to the second state, the nobilities. They are sitting facing to each other in the first two rows. The 600 representatives of the third state had to stand at the back. you can see the members who were representing the third state, they were standing at the back to the first rows. This third state was represented by prosperous and educated members, and when the invitation for the meeting was sent by the king, it was strictly ordered by him that only educated and prosperous members of the third states like lawyers, philosophers, educationists or big merchants only were represent the state. And in this meeting, peasants, women and craft persons were denied, means they were not allowed to send their representatives in this meeting. So, not giving seat to the members of the third state, not allowing the peasants and women and other ordinary people in this meeting, the representatives of those people